Hello, my name is Toby, and this is my message for Hope for America. In Communication 100, we've spent time discussing difficult topics like prejudice, discrimination, and ethnocentrism. These issues can create real distance between families, communities, and cultures. But what gives me hope is that even in the middle of these challenges, people here in Arizona are choosing something different. They're choosing dialogue, and they're choosing accountability, and they're choosing healing. And those choices matter more than we often realize. Before I share my examples, I want to say this. Hope doesn't come easily these days. When we talk about prejudice or discrimination, it's easy to feel discouraged or even powerless. But I've realized that hope isn't about ignoring problems. It's about noticing the people who are quietly working to make things better. Once you start paying attention to those people and those efforts, you start to see them more often and way more than you think. The first event that gives me hope took place in December 2025 at the Arizona State Prison Complex in Winslow. Northern Arizona Restorative Justice, NAU, and the Department of Rehabilitation hosted a closing ceremony on the Inside Out Prison Exchange program. This program brings incarcerated individuals and college students together for guided conversations about accountability, empathy, and shared humanity. People who might never cross paths in everyday life sit in the same room, listen to each other's stories, and reflect on harm and responsibility. What stands out to me is how intentional the communication is. No judgment, no defensiveness, just honest dialogue. It shows that even in a place shaped by past harm, people can still grow, still change, and still rebuild trust. What really stays with me through this program is the courage it takes for people to show up. It's not easy to talk about harm or responsibility. It's not easy to listen to someone whose life looks completely different than your own. But the fact they chose to do it anyway, that's what makes this such a powerful example of communication creating change. The second example of hope happened in September 2025 at the Tempe Center of the Arts during the Golden Rule Awards celebration. People from more than a dozen faiths, traditions came together to share a meal, celebrate compassion, and honor those working across cultural, religious boundaries. The focus was the Golden Rule, a value shared across cultures and emphasizes empathy and mutual respect. In a time when hate crimes and religious tensions are rising, this event created a space where people could connect, talk, and build relationships instead of pulling away from each other. It reminded me that, unity doesn't always come from big national moments. Sometimes it comes from small, intentional gatherings like this. My cat's right here. A key Communication 100 concept that connects both events is restorative communication, which ties closely to intercultural communication. Restorative communication focuses on repairing harm through dialogue, accountability, and empathy. Intercultural communication helps people navigate differences in values, identity, and lived experiences without falling into stereotypes or hostility. These Arizona events show me how communication can transform conflict. The restorative justice work in Winslow shows that even in difficult environments, people can rebuild trust through honest conversation and shared responsibility. It reflects what we've learned in class, that conflict isn't automatically destructive. It can be a turning point. The Golden Rule Award shows how intercultural communication reduces prejudice by highlighting shared values. When people eat together, listen to stories, and honor each other's contribution, stereotypes begin to fade away. What makes me hopeful is that these efforts aren't huge national movements. They're community level choices. They're people deciding to show up, listen, and understand one another. And honestly, that feels just real to me. It feels achievable. It feels like something all of us can participate in. These examples give me hope that for America's future, that America's future can include stronger families, healthier friendships, and more respectful relationships across cultural lines. If we continue choosing communication over division, that is. Hope doesn't always come from big speeches or big headlines. Sometimes it comes from ordinary people choosing to connect. And that's why I believe change is possible. And I think the reason these events give me so much hope is because they show what's possible when people slow down and actually listen. Not to win an argument, not to prove a point, but to understand. That's something we talk about in communication all the time. The idea that communication isn't just exchanging words, it's building relationships. It's creating space for people to feel seen and heard. And when I look at these events, I see proof that this kind of communication really does change things. It changes how we see each other, it changes how we handle conflict. Honestly, it changes what we believe is possible for our communities. So when I think about America's future, I don't really picture something perfect. I picture people choosing connection, even when it's uncomfortable. I picture small rooms where people talk honestly. I picture communities that grow because they refuse to give up on each other. And that's where my hope comes from. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you guys have a great day.